The Chicago Bulls have blown it after yet another miserable loss to another bottom dweller in the Brooklyn Nets. The Bulls are showing us who they really and truly are. I'm going to break it down along with some of the rumours that are swirling as a result, right after this.
It's time to see red.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another See Red UK Chicago Bulls chat where sleep is optional and loving the Bulls isn't. I'm your host, Neill, and we need to have a serious talk about this team, but first, make sure you like and hit subscribe down below. Yes, I am 100% guilty of getting suckered in by this team and how they played to start the season. I told everyone to believe and to not panic, and when it all went wrong. But the way the Bulls have played over this most recent stretch of games has led me to have to reevaluate. I mean, I've just got no choice. The things that made this team great and made the rest of the league sit up and pay attention have all but gone completely. And I know that a lot of that is down to the extensive injury report that the Bulls are currently suffering at the hands of, as that was their biggest strength. Their bench depth, but this is gone and the bench has been shortened as a result, but that doesn't mean that you have to give up on everything that was working. Gone is the defense by committee, gone is the pace, gone is the movement and passing, and gone are the wins. It's been such an incredible 180, such a fall from grace, and the season now, it's gone from being on its head in a good way to being on its arse in the most horrific, horrible way. The games are awful to watch now. I mean, they're getting themselves into huge holes that are very, very difficult to get out of. And you're just seeing them scrapping to try and find footing, not scrapping to get a win like they were. Now they're just trying to be in the game any bit. And it's just, maybe 2, 3, sometimes even all 4 quarters now of just watching awful, sedentary basketball. And I'm absolutely sick of it. After the abysmal loss to the Nets, 113-103, where nobody really showed up except for Josh Giddey and some solid minutes from Dalen Terry and Io, it's hard to see any way out of this slump based on how this team looks right now. Defensively, the team is disjointed, paper thin and lacking effort and hustle. The amount of open lanes and rebounds they're giving up creating easy scores and multiple second chance opportunities is off the charts and creating huge deficits for the Bulls to have to try and claw their way out of. I mean, it's just awful. It's impossible to watch and enjoy, and it's so far removed from where I was at the start of the season, where I was really thoroughly enjoying Bulls basketball again, and that's just it's gone, and it's just such a pity. It genuinely looks like everybody is checked out right now, except for Giddey maybe, who is playing some pretty excellent basketball in fairness, averaging a near-on triple-double. Apart from the fact, there's a few too many unforced turnovers, but to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of he's averaging too many turnovers, but a lot of the turnovers are down to the fact that the rest of the team aren't clued into what he's doing, and then he does have a handful of his own. But when the ball is in your hand that much, there's always going to be a certain allowance for turnovers, but they're just a little bit too high. So if you could just get those down, I mean, everything else about his game is brilliant. I mean, it's night and day from where it was when he first joined the Bulls. He's attacking the rim. He has got this spin move attack that he's put into his game that is so much more successful than it was. He's shooting well. He's still looking for pass. I mean, he is a pass-first player, but he has really brought in the offense to his game as well. He's even doing okay on the defense, but like I say, this is not a strong defensive team, and it only really works when they work together, and that's gone right now, and I don't know how they get that back. It's like they've lost all belief in one another, and they really need to get that fixed somehow very, very quickly. And you've got to ask, how much of that is on Billy Donovan. And Billy does seem to be banging his head against the wall, right? And there's this talk now that's swirling around out there that he has potentially lost the locker room. And if that's the case, if your head coach has lost the team, he's lost the respect of the team, they're no longer listening to him, you have to find out, is there a poison, a toxin within the team that's caused that? Is it the whole team that's caused that? Or is it just Billy? And if it's the whole team that's caused that, like if everybody has given up on Billy at the same time, and it's not because of what Billy is trying to preach, they've just given up, then it's time to blow up the team. If they're just not listening to Billy because nobody agrees with what he's saying or believes in Billy, then it's time to get rid of Billy. And if it's down to a toxin or a poison within the locker room, like let's say it was rumoured to be the case with Jimmy Butler years ago, then no matter who that player is, they're the problem. You need to cut that out. You need to cut the head of the snake. But at the moment, it's kind of hard to establish exactly who or what the problem is there. But I mean, I'm not a Billy hater, right? But if he has lost them, I think it's time for Billy to go. But I just don't see this happening because that's simply not how this franchise operates. It's just not. So anyway, we face off again tonight against the Pacers at the UC this time, and hopefully we can take revenge, but it's going to take much more heart and determination from this team, and much better performance is required than we've been getting, not just against the Pacers, but against every team we've been playing. It's just not there, and they need to find some way of reconnecting to it and reconnecting to one another and getting it done. But how exactly are this team going to do that? I mean, how are they going to turn it around? It's very, very hard to see how they will, and at least to do it and keep it going, make it sustainable. Shout out to Nikola Vucevic on that one. Might I add as well that since he had his little rant to Casey Johnson and the rest of the media crew in the locker room that this isn't sustainable and they're playing soft, well, they've been playing some of their worst basketball since then. So do they not have any respect for Vooch? Do they not have any respect for the game itself and their own heart and their own hustle, their own pride? Something's broken somewhere, and it needs to be fixed. They need to find some way of doing that. We got season-ending news for Noah Essengay, so the promise of development from him is gone. It's a pity. He's got to have shoulder surgery, which is season-ending. So that's the end of his first season, his rookie year. He never really got much tick with the Bulls, but he was playing down with the Windy City Bulls, and it was beginning to look like we were at a stage where potentially Noah could start to get a little bit more floor time with the Bulls. But obviously, that's not going to happen now. Kevin Huerter is still graded as out. However, the rest of the injury report is currently, even though it's still extensive, is currently sitting there with a lot of game time decisions. We could potentially see the return of Zach Collins as early as tonight against the Pacers, and he could bring with him a real lift on the defensive end of the floor. He really would be instantly there, I'd say, as the first five off the bench behind Vooch. So we'll see how that works out if he plays. But I am really, really excited to see the return of Zach Collins because, by God, we have missed him, definitely. The rest of the injury report, then, just to go through it quickly, Io, Trey, Okoro, Jalen, DT, Kobe, P-Will are all listed as game time decisions. So that could all be null and void, and every one of them could end up back on the floor tonight, which would be a massive boost, obviously, for the team to have the reduction in bench depth to suddenly change and become an extensive bench once again. And we'll see, does that bring any good fortune with it or any change? But it could also just be game time decisions and they all end up not playing, or we could just get a smattering of a few of them. Will it be enough to affect the way the Bulls are playing and affect the outcome of the game? only time will tell. So we'll keep an eye out on that one and keep you posted. But I do think it's time to start paying attention to the rumours that are swirling around the NBA. Now, that's not something I normally like to do. Always here at C-Red UK, we've been quite dismissive of rumours until they come out from a real official source, somebody like Casey Johnson reporting it, or something along those lines, or Shams himself. But look, at the moment, things are so bad that I'm actually turning to these rumours and trying to find some bit of hope or change for the future in amongst them. So the biggest one, of course, is the latest story that Giannis is potentially looking to get out of Milwaukee. We know in the past that Giannis has hinted at having an interest in playing for Chicago. So, naturally, Bulls Nation goes a bit crazy and like, oh, we're going to get Giannis. Or maybe Giannis can come to Chicago. Well, if the latest story that's come out is to be believed, you may need to sit on that one, because Luke Ellis reported on Chicago Sports Tonight, that's Fox 32, that Giannis reps approached the Bulls about a move to Chicago. So you think, yes, brilliant, fantastic, that's what we need. And apparently the Bulls shut it down. A very quick thank you, but no thank you, is reported to have been the case. And this is crazy if it's true. It's nuts. I mean, whether you like Giannis or not, whether you think the Greek Freak should be a Bull or not, I don't care, right? He's a needle mover for any team in the NBA. And like I say, he's always shown that expression of interest towards the Bulls. I just really hope that this is just lies or smoke and mirrors by the organisation, because if there is a way to get this deal done, you goddamn well make it happen. Okay, if you can get Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Chicago Bulls, you go out there and you do whatever it takes to make that happen. And I wouldn't say that about many players, but let's face it, Giannis is one of the top players in the NBA. Okay, he may take 45 minutes just to shoot a free throw, but the guy changes everything for you, offensively and defensively. You have to consider this. You have to make this happen if it's a move that could potentially happen. And if they've just shut down any conversation about it or refusing to take calls on it, well, shame on you, AK. Absolutely shame on you. The other one, of course, is the one that always pops up and just doesn't go away, and that's the AD story. Anthony Davis, I understand it. He's from Chicago, so naturally he becomes a conversational piece. It's always been kind of rumoured AD to Chicago, never seems to materialise. But this time it seems to have a little bit more traction, perhaps. It's not something that I've showed any interest in previously over the years. But at this stage, we need to do something. We can't just keep doing what we're doing. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome. It just doesn't happen. You need to make a change, and time is it's now. AK needs to look at what is out there, who can make an immediate impact, not just a few role players here and there. Look, you came up with a 9 to 10 good players. We got 9 to 10 good players. It looked great for a really short spell of time, but it's fallen flat. It hasn't worked. You need a superstar. You need at least multiple stars on this roster, and we just don't have them yet. So, look, once they don't have to sell the farm in order to get us there, I would take a swing at this stage. I really would, and just see what happens. It can't be any worse than what we have already, right? He is from Chicago, as I say, and if he can stay healthy, and that's a big if, but if he can stay healthy, he can protect the rim, and he provides a lot of offense. He'd look awesome getting on the end of lobs, courtesy of the Brister himself, Josh Giddey. That's something I'd like to see. And as far as I'm concerned, I think if you were to ask me right now, who is untouchable on this Bulls team, I think Josh Giddey is the absolute number one. I'd say Ayo Dosunmu is the second one that I would say is untouchable on this roster right now. After that, it kind of starts to thin out a lot for me. If you'd asked me 10, 15 games ago, I would definitely have said 100% Mattis. And I think I still would say it. But he certainly has not been the player or taken the step that it looked like he was going to take at the start of the season, that he promised us he was going to take in this year. And that's kind of where I hoped he was going to be and where everybody hoped he was going to be. But Mattis has just not looked the same. And my biggest complaint about Mattis Buzelis at the moment, and I've put this out on Twitter, I've put this out on the socials, is he really needs to tighten up his handles. If he's going to be dribbling the ball, if he's going to be making his move toward the rim, he needs to tighten them up. They are just too loose. He's losing the ball on the floor far too often. He's getting pressed and dropping the ball and turning the ball over to defenders way too much. And it needs to be fixed. But I do think that Mattis is potentially a big part of the future of this club. So I would say that if you had to say to me, pick 3 players that cannot go, 3 players that have to stay, I would say Josh Giddey, Ayo Dosunmu, and Mattis Buzelis, and everybody else, yes, including Kobe White, is up for debate. And you are going to make some moves in order to bring something decent in. You're going to have to let something decent go out, and I just don't want to see them, like I say, sell the farm, give up too many first round picks in the future, give up too many assets that way. I just think that is, depending on what has to go. I mean, obviously, a certain amount of picks will have to go to make a move for the likes of Anthony Davis or Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I do think that it needs to be discussed, and everything needs to be on the table for a player like that. But what do you think? Do you think it's time for the Bulls to make a move? Maybe you prefer to just blow it all up. Let me know down below. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. I've been Neill, and remember, wherever you are in the world, see red, bleed red, go Bulls.